No, I'm Rebecca. I'm Rebecca. Michael. Nice to
I'm Brent. Taylor Rose.
Nice to meet you.
That's right. Yeah.
Is that what we're getting?
I'm sorry?
This is advertised here, that means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can do my emails in the chamber questions. You can like, get on to let me get a pen. I'll be. Yeah, so that's the Oh, my God.
So anyway, we'll get your eye. As you help, you have a pack, and you'll go home, pack it won't be all right.
Work. Are you rookie? Good. Saw yesterday, one of these mix.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they work, stuff in there too. That's all.
He's pretty good, yeah. We have that. Yeah, we had that like a week ago. It was like, I want to, I want to mix.
Down in Jeff Barnett. For a long time. You guys ain't my rules.
Oh, really?
He goes, you worked a long part on that. And he goes, that's why I do have you in the will for the foundation. I said,
Fantastic. Yes.
yeah, they just didn't. This can't be a situation. I didn't talk to you about this. We agree on this. Yeah.
You're welcome to sit here so you can see the screen.
It seems to be.
Oh, there's a file. There's a file. I told you. Just bring it down.
These are how many surveys we have.
Report.
March their card.
Just like that.
I'm still shooting for 500. I know we can find 500 people.
To I've got 900 people that are willing to take 5 minutes of this.
What are you doing for survey? Have you got one yet?
Okay.
And let me tell you where you can mail that.
You know what, I was actually out at guys.
You can mail it back to the Chamber of Commerce in Dillon.
What's your name?
I'm Rebecca.
Okay.
I'm the director of the Chamber of Commerce.
That must be a fun job.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
I don't know how much water there is there.
well, you know, I'm from the. This like.
There, mail back to me. I'll make sure the courthouse gets it. I'm one of the study commissioners that was voted in, and as was Taylor and, Brittany.
Well, thank you, Bob.
Sure, and Dana here works for the county commissioners and for us to, as kind of our helper, and trying to get all this stuff done. You do a great job. Does your husband need a survey?
It's my brother.
Oh, your brother, okay, would he, probably, that's good, no one.
Yeah.
And then that's the one I've got, so.
I'm actually a fifth generation vehicle.
Are you? What's your name?
Well, my name is Liz Little. Jay Nelson was my dad.
Nelson, okay, I've heard that, I've heard of that name.
Yeah. Our great grandparents were Hershey
And is that direction? You're
in Jackson.
Jackson?
Yeah.
Okay.
The house where my dad built. Was my brother lives there.
Okay, all right, good.
But I live in Rick Gold.
About losing
life
Old tree.
Oh, Gold Creek, yeah. My daughter went on that trail, looking for that treasure.
I don't know, I tried my. Get your way.
Mile where gold was first discovered in Montana.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's good.
I mean, and he was like the worst process.
Yeah.
Hey,
This is my brother Bob Nelson.
Bob Nelson, Rebecca Jones. I'm the executive director of the Beaverton Chamber of Commerce and the Dillon Visitor Center. My office has been for 11 years. Right there by the chemical dependency and probation and parole. I'm in that building. So it's just, us are the 3 study commissioners. We were elected last November. By some 3,600 people elected us in the county. So that was good. And we're just trying to go around the county to get this survey completed. We'd like about 500 people. I mean, there's 10,000 people in our county now, believe it or not. So if we can get 500 people to tell us their opinions, that's what we're shooting at. So,
See, our great grandparents were the Hershey's.
We're gonna go ahead and get the
They
meeting
came
started.
from Switzerland and they were cheese makers.
Um,
And I still
The
have the
Beaverhead
original
County
cheese
Study
recipe.
Commission,
I
and
make it.
we are here to talk to you about local government and the review process and determine if you guys want to see any changes made in local government. So this is Rebecca Jones. She's also one of the study commission members, and Taylor Rose, CEO of Barrett Hospital. And Rebecca's with Chamber of Commerce. And so Taylor's going to go ahead and lead the PowerPoint. And I can just go sit and listen to her.
and we're gonna have food brought out. We've got some trays of heavy hors d'oeuvres.
Well, thank you. Again, I'm Taylor Rose, elected to the Government Study Commission.
I guess.
So what we're trying to do, our intent here is to help people understand what the Government Study Commission is, what the scope of what we're looking at is, and then start to get a little bit of feedback from you guys today, and then be able to take that back and hopefully interact more in the future. But this is just kind of an initial, here's what we can do and here's what we can't do kind of type thing, because we can't do everything. So you go ahead. So Montana 1972 Constitution, it gave the people the right to every 10 years, they get to look at the form of government and get to change it if they see necessary. So you can go ahead. So the legislator gives the vote every 10 years to the community to say, is this something you want to look at? Is this something you want to change? Then the community votes yes or no. And then if there is the vote to change it, then there's an election for government study commissioners. We were the only three that ran, so we were elected. And we were given the opportunity to be able to do this. So, I think you can go ahead and let's see. So more of that, this is a lot of the Montana code stuff. If you want to look into it, gives you a little bit more background on why it is. So you can go ahead and advance. So anything through Montana Code Annotated 73171 through 73193 has to do with the local government review. So our focus, what it is not. So just to clarify, there are two government study commissions going on right now in Beaverhead County. One is for the county form of government and one is for the city of Dillon, their form of government. So you see ads in some of the publications and stuff for another one. That's for the city. We are looking at the county form of government only. We are not dealing with the city form of government. So the local government, it's not a performance review of elected officials, local governments, or staff members and appointed boards. So we're really not here to say, how are the county commissioners doing? How is the sheriff doing? It's not about that. It's not a review of policies or ordinances. We're not looking to change those. We're not looking at changing taxes or fees or assessments. We're not looking at the laws to regulate any elections or anything like that. Anything around planning and zoning. And we are not an opportunity to basically, we're not going to require any government or employee to carry out any function or provide any specific service. So, all right, so we're looking at studying the form and the powers of the government, because there's multiple ways, multiple options that the government is able to function inside the state of Montana. And I just realized Cal's an attorney, so he probably knows a lot more about this. But just tell me if I say anything wrong, Cal, okay?
Correct us.
Correct us, please. One of the reasons I ran for the Government Study Commission is because I felt the best way I could learn about this stuff is to actually be involved in doing it. So that's why I personally put my name in the hat for this, and to get to know people in the community better. So, all right. So we are required to hold public meetings and community forums. This is the requirement of the Government Study Commission, is for us to give the community the opportunity to actually give us feedback. We're able to use other means to disseminate information. You can see that we have these surveys that we're conducting. There's electronic and written versions of that you can fill out. We're just trying to stimulate this public discussion and engage the public about any things that they might think that we have power to change to be able to do that. So go ahead. So we are able to, so what can we do is we can recommend amendments to the existing plan of government. We can recommend any plan of government that's authorized in the Montana Code. Then we can draft a charter. We don't have to do any of this. This is things that we can do. We can recommend municipal county consolidation or amendments to existing consolidation. So we can make recommendations. For example, like Butte Silverbow is together. The Butte City and the County of Silverbow is a consolidated area. It's been discussed, for example, over in Madison County. Madison County has a government study commission. And, you know, integrating maybe some of those municipalities over there with the, with some of the county municipalities. So, we can cooperate with other study commissions. So we could cooperate with the Dillon City Commission if there was anything that was impacted by both of those. So we were looking at like some of the law enforcement, interlocal agreements that we have. We could recommend something around those. Or it could be, I think the last government study that came through about 10 years ago, there was no recommendation. So that was the recommendation 10 years ago. We can recommend service, as I mentioned, service consolidation or transfer in cooperation with the study commission of another county or with the study commission of one or more municipalities. So right now we have not delved in deep with any of the other government study commissioners, or any of the other government study commissions who discussed any of that, because quite frankly, the feedback we've gotten thus far has been, they don't really want it. So that hasn't been on the table, but we can if we needed to. So we can do supplementary reports, and just do our final report. And then it can be given to the governing body within 1 year. So, any questions thus far? Okay. So as you guys know, there's 3 branches of the government: executive, legislative, and judicial. And so we're looking at the form, power, and the plan of government. So the different powers that we have options are the general and self-governing powers. So you can read a lot of the Montana Code annotated, but really general governing powers is the power that basically anything that the Montana Constitution allows you to do, you can do. And then self-governing powers is a little bit more saying that you can do anything you want except what the Constitution says you cannot do. Does that make sense? So this is a good way to put it is, the green is, what saying that the legislator says you can do this. So general governing powers, you can only function inside that green bubble. If you were to have self-governing powers, you can do everything inside the green bubble, everything inside the gray, but you can't do anything inside the red, because that's saying from the government, you can't do that. Yes.
Hey, Taylor, mine would be helpful to talk about that situation with the ice jam on the river, like how that's different.
So I like to use the fireworks example better.
Okay.
So this fireworks is a thing, and the ice jam, that was like federal and stuff like that, which we can't deal with because of the dam. But like the county, people came and said, hey, you gotta stop people from shooting off fireworks in the hills here. And they said, well, we can't do that because there's nothing in the Montana code that says we can do that. But if you were to say, all right, well, we're self-governing and our charter says that we don't allow fireworks in a certain area, then they can do that. Because there's nothing in the state code that says you can't outlaw fireworks. Does that make sense? So,
Yeah, so if somebody on a hill here outside of town, high school kids are shooting off fireworks, they come in, they threaten town or homes. And people say, well, it's the county. Why can't you just outlaw fireworks? Well, they can't. It's not, they don't have the power to do that. According to the Montana Constitution. Because that's where they derive the power, is only what they said they can't.
Over the forest, National Forest they have laws
They
that
have-
you can't.
that's
national
federal land.
Federal lands.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that's why people are kind of questioning, saying, why can't the county do it? Well, they could, but they'd have to have self-governing powers to be able to do that.
So some of the things that self-governing powers can do is provide additional services not permitted by the legislator. Lawfully acquire and operate gas utilities and other utilities within and outside the boundaries of its jurisdiction. And there's greater authority to dispose of public lands, and they can implement local development fees. So you can go ahead forward. So something that you cannot do, some of the things you cannot do is establish a rate or a price that a state agency sets. You can't have anything to impact amateur radio antennas because that's federal radio waves and stuff. Authorize tax on income or the sale of goods or services. So there's no opportunity for like a sales tax or anything through a self-governing power. Impose a duty on another local unit of government. So, and then what has to be included is establishing legislative procedures or requirements for local units of government, and all laws regulating the election of local officials, all laws that require or regulate planning or zoning, any law regulating the budget, finance, or borrowing procedures, and powers of local government. So those all have to be included. Okay.
What if you have something,
Yes.
say you're You have to specifically provide the charter. You pay this, what if it's one of those great things that nobody thinks about, like fireworks? Yeah, so they, county then enacted. They say, oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can change your charter down the road if something comes up. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be like, it's not.
You know what is prohibited. Because if you're self-governing, then anything that's not prohibited needs to be on.
Yeah,
That's bigger.
yeah,
So sometimes you don't
don't know, right?
It comes out.
I think,
Right, in Fergus County, Lewistown, their county went to a charter with self-governing powers. And the people didn't really want a lot of change, but they wanted the flexibility to be able to change before 10 years, the next government study. So they just took their current form of government and wrote it in the chart. And so basically not a lot changed right away, but they said in another year or two, if we want to give the county commissioner, if we want to make some changes, we can do that without having to wait 10 years for another study question.
It's not considered delegating. I mean, that's really the federal constitution, and there's some states too. How do we know I got it? Right.
mhm.
Right. I mean, it doesn't have to be written down in the charters. Oh, yeah, we know that.
I believe they
With the
can
charter, they can't.
with the charter form of government, yeah. Okay, then we have the form of government, and there are the 6 different forms of government allowed by the Montana State Constitution. And there are the commission with an executive, there's a commission with a manager, there's elected county officials, there's a commission with a presiding officer, and there's a town meeting form of government. So a commission executive is the voters elect both a commission, which is a council, and a mayor or an executive. And that mayor appoints, with consent from the council, the department heads for police, fire, and other areas. And then a commission with the manager is the voters elect the council, the commission, who then appoints the manager, who then hires the department heads. And then there is no approval from the commission to the department heads because they've already approved the manager fully and trust them to do the work of hiring the department heads. And then the commission form, elected county officials form is so the voters elect the commission and the commission appoints the department heads, and there's no executive to run that. And, the commission appoints all the department heads and they appoint mayors and boards and committees. So they appoint everybody directly. And then you have the presiding officer where the commission is voted. And then the commission elects the mayor, who then goes and appoints the department heads with the consent of council. Town meeting form it's basically what it sounds like. There's a town meeting where people get together and they vote on everything. This doesn't pertain to us because it's municipalities with less than 2,000 residents. I think there's only one of these in the entire state of Montana. There's a small town somewhere in Montana that has this. It does not seem like a very efficient form of government to me. So we're not really going to dive into that. And then you have a plan, which is the recipe for the government. So, and for self-government. So you also have the form of government as a charter that is required for self-governing, right? I always get this one mixed up. So a charter is a local government equivalent to a state or national constitution. It's approved by the voters within its jurisdiction. And it's that form of government. So go on. So it's basically, it tells us how we're going to run the government. It's the plan. It defines the power, structure, duties, limitations. Go ahead. So a charter needs to include, what the elected body is, the number of members, the term, if the elections are partisan or nonpartisan, if it's districted or at large, what the grounds of removal are, and the method for filling vacancies. It must include elected or appointed chief executive, administrative officer, the powers and duties of the chief executive, grounds for removal, and it could provide a plural executive drawn from the legislative body. So for example, I believe the county of Beaverhead has the plan that the county commissioners are that executive body together. It can also specify additional officers, boards, commissions, and agencies, any limitations or prohibitions on the governing body, governing body's exercise of self-governing powers, other provisions, as long as they're not contrary to the Constitution or law. So it can't have anything that conflicts with state law. It can't have anything that establishes elections, initiatives, or referendum procedures. It can't have provisions to modify local court systems. Charters are only amended with voter approval. So if there's a charter that's established, any changes to that has to go through the whole voter process. It's not just on a whim. Now the county commissioners can go and change whatever they want type thing. You go back to that. So every charter has to be in a, if we want to do a charter for Beaverhead County, it must have self-governing powers. You cannot have general governing powers. But every community that it has self-governing powers does not need to adopt a charter. They can just adopt the normal Montana laws. So this is just a rundown of Montana. For counties, there's 4 counties that are run on charter. 52 counties are non-charter. We are non-charter. And then powers of government, 4 are self-governing and 52 are general. And we again are general government powers, Beaverhead County. Municipalities, those are the cities. You can see the numbers over there. They are a little bit more diverse in how they're run. Any questions on that? It's confusing for me. So I am not a lawyer, do not pretend to be. I do not pretend to be a politician either. Again, what we're looking for is the county government serving the needs of the people? The vote was that they wanted us to look at it, so that's what we're doing. And we just kind of wanted to get your guys' feedback. Do you guys feel like the county government is serving the needs of Big Hole Valley?
You guys ever doing cost analysis on whether it's cheaper than one? Like, you said with the city, like, Super Bowl, is that part of your job?
Not yet. I think if we started getting into recommendations, any recommendation that we make goes on the ballot. And so if it goes on the ballot, we would probably want to know what any change was going to cost. So say that we went from 3 to 4 county commissioners. What does that look like? What's the cost impact going to be? Say we went from districted or at large. What would the impact on that be? We'd want to do those kinds of studies, but right now we don't have any recommendations that we're really narrowing in on. This is really just the beginning of it all. And so we've not done any cost benefit. We can do those. Our budget, I don't know, would allow for a significant study of those, but say we wanted to combine, police and sheriff into one kind of type of thing. What would that look like? We'd want to do a cost analysis there.
What kind of issues have come forward? I mean, like, what have you been hearing?
I think the I'll just speak and then I'll let you guys, Rookie and Rebecca, talk. I've heard people want to look at term limits on some of our county commissioners. People want to potentially look at the districting and how that all plays out and who gets elected. Let's see, what other major issues have you guys heard?
Well, mostly term limits for county commissioners, but then when we went to Lima, people really saw the benefit of having both commissioners with experience.
The knowledge, transfer of knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But around town, a lot I hear, we people in office, we get along.
Yeah.
We did hear one person in Dillon suggest, why are we having Dillon and the county just be together, just be like Butte Silverbow? But then when we went to Lima, we had 6 people there say, absolutely not. No way, Dillon will get all the resources and the rest of the county will get nothing. So we heard conflicting comments there.
Very clear in line that they do not want to be consolidated in this county either.
And the Lima itself doesn't want to be consolidated. So.
Lyman is the only other municipality in the county besides Dillon City, and there's Lima City. So they're the only 2 mayors, right? Everybody else is part of the county, and they're just running a middle county something.
What else? Yeah, I mean, the ice jam was one issue that we heard, from folks. Hi, come on in. We've got a whole tray here. Here, Taylor, can you give them some plates and they can have this tray? Because you all didn't, you said you already,
Finished eating.
they've already. And yeah.
Notice.
Here. Got my class.
So, yeah, that's what, we're just out here to, what are you guys' thoughts on the county government and the county commissioners?
No complaints.
Okay,
I guess
I'm quite sure I don't know how to do it.
what we do out here, it doesn't, I don't think you do. Might be not a fan of term limits. Well, I really agree with term limits as, like, if it goes up further.
okay,
Yeah, I'm like, you're going to get rid of some of those career politicians,
yeah,
but I don't know, I haven't really seen much. I think we have so many other issues that we deal with that the county commissioners, I think.
Couldn't find enough people to do
Yeah,
it.
now you want to talk water.
That's what Lima said.
Those are
If you do just like a
Yeah,
nobody runs, because there's such a small population.
Um,
And the people who run aren't qualified really.
Yeah, I don't think so. So there's nothing you can do as far as first wave or, I mean, I know you can't do anything directly, but can you actually go out to like, say, state fishing, for example, say, and there's policy that don't. And it's not agreement. You know, and is there anything that you can
Quite sure we've done them.
kind of just convey to them, we think there's a problem, just direct them? And maybe put that in the, I don't know who it goes to, but it's gotta go to the head of fish and game, maybe the commissioners. But I don't know if you can put a voice of input from the valley.
I think that the power of the county government to do something would revolve more around like land access and land management and not directly for like the water and fishing game, right?
Yeah, and to me, it'd be fish there.
Yeah, that's all owned by the state, right?
Right.
They don't.
So you cannot just kind of say, hey, this is what we've got for this people, so here's thoughts for the community. And then actually take it to the fishing game or to the county commissioners or something else like that. and say, hey, I mean, this is the voice of concern. I don't know if anything that could possibly happen.
That is not within the purview, like the Fish and Game is not within the purview of this government study commission, so
Right.
I would love to be able to go tell the Fish and Game.
But it won't make it won't make.
They're not gonna listen to me more than they're gonna listen to you.
Right.
So, I mean, like, if there was like county infrastructure in place that could improve fish habitat, maybe along those lines,
Right.
but say, you know, like roads or culvert and stuff like that, it might improve some of that, but other bridges, those sorts of things.
Within the county.
Yeah,
Right.
that'd be what they probably do about that. I don't.
What about partisan or nonpartisan elections? Does that matter?
For commissioners. Are you talking commissioners or?
Well, commissioners right now, I think it's partisan, isn't it?
Yeah, commissioners are partisan, what's the sheriff
Or there's
Partisan.
partisan.
do?
I kind of like to know who votes for.
If that is on the table and.
know who it is,
Mhm.
if they're willing to do it.
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, people like the shoe size. I'll be a county commissioner.
It'd be nice to say, like, I mean, theoretically, in a county form, in a
Like,
charter form of government, you can put a lot of things in the charter to, I mean, I know, like, right now, for example, in the charter for the city of Dillon, because I believe city of Dillon's a charter form,
It is.
right? Right now, to be mayor, you had to have lived within the city limits for a certain amount of time. And I think there's even a candidate for mayor that should not.
I think there's two candidates for
They
mayor.
have not lived within the city limits for that time.
For mayor, because it's different for mayor than it is for council.
Yeah, so.
Yeah,
Some, there can be odd requirements in there. If you have a charter form of government, you have to do that. So,
but like the folks in Lima said, you really restrict who can run. And then with a lower population, then will you have enough people to run? Will you have somebody to fill the role?
yeah, that did come up in terms of like, hey, you have a term, like a two-term, whatever term limit that is. I mean, do we really have enough people that in your community that are willing to say, yeah, I'll do county commissioner meetings once a week. Drive into town once a week, have county commission meetings and spend a full day or however much time it takes to do those, and do all the meetings and do all the duties of county commissioner. There's enough people in the community that if that turns over, you're actually gonna have someone.
Like, you need to advertise for salary and benefits.
Yeah, if you did.
That's a determining factor.
Right.
Yeah, how long is John? Yeah.
John Jackson, well, he was just elected in November and he was finishing up another term, I
Yeah,
thought.
how many terms? He would have been a part of that.
Yeah, okay, so, you know, let's then try to.
One that was doing.
Yeah, and he finished his term and then he was reelected in November. So he'll be there for another 6 years.
That's what it is. 6.
And they are staggered terms. It doesn't seem like that because of the death and but
So every 2 years of election, one of them goes on the election block there.
You can see that negates that I mean, she has seniority. Cause that's there. That's standard term.
That was one of the big things you took away from Lima was about all the institutional knowledge that this person takes with them. And I mean, yeah, but also what are their opportunities for that person's not really a chance to that type of thing, so. I think what else, other conversations we had?
So the other thing I wanted to bring up is, this was the flyer that had all of our forums, the one in Dillon, Lima, and tonight. And then there's a QR code here at the bottom that you just hover your phone, you open up your camera on your phone, you don't take a picture of it, you just hover it over the QR code and a yellow URL pops up and you just tap it and it takes you right into the survey. But I do have one paper survey left if somebody wants it. You can just return it to the Chamber of Commerce or to the courthouse. And, we'll make sure that, that Dana gets it. But they're simple surveys. They're just about 5 minutes is all it takes. But we're really hoping to get 500 surveys, and we have 34 right now. So we don't have a time limit.
How many people are out here?
Yeah,
100 actually is dropped. Yeah, because I think it's 98. Yeah, because it used to
Get
be,
you all.
we all had t-shirts about saying, here's the Montana population 100, and now you have to put a big slash through, it. Now they're doing 98. Yeah.
I like it out here. I think it's beautiful.
Have you stood outside at this time of the year?
I avoided it because I almost got carried away by mosquitoes.
They're so bad.
They're not bad right here in town.
I didn't think they were too bad. My windshield is still pretty clear. I mean, I've been out here in the spring where.
I think that
like,
big
there's
downfield
the
a
wind.
week ago. And they weren't very bad over there when I was there a week ago, but today I didn't hear them. Wow, they got.
Oh, no, and they aren't bad in towns. I was out in the hayfield today, and they were happy when way bad. They were really bad. She's a water commissioner.
Oh, okay.
And where the very worst is out in the sagebrush of the Steel Creek rings. That's, they're, I avoid that this year. Can you do anything about the mosquitoes?
Well, the county can do like the spraying for mosquitoes, so.
Does anybody still do that?
I was down in, Idaho and Garden City, and they were spraying, it was crazy over there.
What do they spray with?
Wow, big truck.
Yeah.
Mist and clouds everywhere, and
But you know, there is a lot of controversy in the old days about when they spray for mosquitoes, but it's like way back when, and
oh,
they
yeah.
were using a little agent orange stuff in there. Oh, yeah,
Don't do that.
lots of brain cancer
Okay.
down on the lower part where it happened. That is not good.
What's bad in town, it's just when you walk out through the hayfields.
But,
I said, it's not bad here in town, it's just when you walk out.
yeah, oh my gosh.
It's kind of hard.
When, you know, they, and I don't know, some of this long before my time, but, they sprayed with something. I mean, that is really, like, down on the north. You know, yeah, all the, constants, you know, and, Sharon Bacon's first husband, they all died of a very bizarre brain cancer. And they said that because they were brain was something after the war that had mutation. That's what I've always heard, but I've never heard anything about it. So I never.
So are you fishing guy out here? Is that what you do, or?
No, I'm actually, I'm from Idaho. I just, so I'm like, I don't even belong. You know, that's about the one I've heard over here. It takes a lot of mosquitoes to make a great hay crop. So anyway, I don't know if we get rid of this thing.
Mosquitoes pollinate?
They just love anything water, you know, and we just looked up the water temperature and it's like, it is so, the water temperature is so warm already. It's just
Yeah,
crazy.
they're probably, I think they're gonna shut the big one down here this year, right? Last July.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, they're asking everybody to, you know, shut down, you know, not,
The food out stuff.
but, well, yeah, they hit a certain CFS, but
Yeah.
I mean, people will be turning off here shortly from being, you know, anyway, but not everybody.
All right.
You're just gonna have to get along with it, yeah.
Okay, all right. Would anybody like to scan the QR code to do a survey? Yeah. Or you could pass it around over there.
Sam,
Would anybody like the paper survey?
This guy. A little bit.
Nice. Well, appreciate you guys taking time and coming out here.
Thank you, guys.
She'll be back out here on the 10th of July
Are we coming out here?
at Fetty's. They're coming right to the same place.
Okay, sounds
So
good.
come and meet your Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. We'll have our board meeting out here on the 10th. I'm willing to take all kinds of questions. I don't know if they'll have any answers, but they'll take.
That's all I do.